Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
We've got the experience, the passion, and the beach to make your event a smash hit. Whether it's a romantic wedding, a lively sports venue, or a rocking high school dance, Troutland Entertainment has you covered. Contact them at 330-414-4261 or email them at troutlandent@gmail.com. That's troutlandent@gmail.com.
It's all about the deal at Brunswick Auto Mart. Save big this month with deals like this. Don't miss the Make This the Summer event and lease a new 2025 Ram 1500 Night Edition Crew Cab 4x4 with heated side mirrors, parking sensors, backup cam, Apple CarPlay, and lane departure warning for just $319 a month. Brunswick Auto Mart. Car buying made truly simple.
Welcome, everybody, to Sports on Tap. This is the high school football recap show for at the end of the show. So plenty of words from our tremendous sponsors. You are watching us live on our YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. Smash the notifications button. Get those notifications when we are about to go live on the air. We are also at Facebook at Sports on Tap. Our live updates of the games that we cover are at on our Twitter handle at SOT Podcasts. We're also on Threads at SOT_podcasts. You can check this out on Spotify at Sports on Tap. And our website is sportsontap.podcast. You're going to get the schedules, the standings, the results. Everything is located on our website. And we are also, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, suggestions, pronunciations, or anything else of that like, send us a note at sportsontap@gmail.com. My name is Ed Dick, alongside Rob Troutman, Noah Jacobson, Josh Jeffy. Sean Duffy is currently out on assignment. I don't blame him because I'm just about to put a butt whooping on him in our fantasy football league. I just need 1 point between 3 players, and I'm pretty sure I can get that done. I really wish he was here so I could say it to his face, but I will certainly text him in the group chat if and when that does happen.
He probably isn't really out on assignment. He's probably at home crying right now.
Scouring the waiver wires.
What I will say is that me and him are generally pretty cordial during our week. I do notice that he seems to talk a lot of crap about in some of the other weeks, but
oh yeah,
I prefer to keep things civil in my battles, and that includes pressing company included. Josh is like, that's so boring. Hey, we got a great show for everyone tonight. Later tonight at 8:25, we will be joined by Avon Lake wide receiver Aidan Stewart. He is a return guest, so he is definitely friend of show status. Then at 8:40, we'll be joined by first-year starting quarterback for the Highland Hornets, quarterback Grady Gibb. He joins us from the Suburban League American, which will become the Suburban League Natty come next year. We will go through the results of the Mehco Custom Printing Player of the Week results. I happened to take a look at it earlier today or late last night, and it was getting pretty close. So we'll see if the tides turned a little bit there. We also tell you where we're going next week, and we're getting real close to just talking about playoff time here. We're probably a solid 2 or 3 weeks away from starting to talk playoff picture, but it's starting to come into shape a little bit, especially with the playoffs being condensed from 16 teams in each region to 12. So it certainly gives us a lot more to talk about as far as what needs to happen for certain teams to get into playoff positioning. But as we normally do, we are going to kick things off with the Suburban League Natty. He's doing double duty tonight, guys. So Josh has, I hope he drank a lot of chocolate milk because he's got a lot of talking coming his way. So without further ado, Josh Jeffy is going to handle things from the Suburban League.
Thanks a lot, Ed. I appreciate that. Another great week in the Suburban League, not only in the Natty, but in the American. We'll get to that here a little bit later. But first, we'll start with the superior of the two, the Natty. Just kidding. I can't say that because Sean is not here to defend the American, but some good performances. Again, we'll talk about that momentarily. We're going to start off the first game in the Natty. Wadsworth continues their undefeated season with another dominating 49-12 victory over the Brecksville Bees. You know, Wadsworth's formula has been the same every game. It's defense, it's running game, and then it's a long pass from Bryson Hall to Calix Lemp. That's been pretty much the focus of the season for them, and that's been the same in this game. In fact, the duo of Gavin Madigan and Cooper Gray combined in this game for 296 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns on the ground. Calix Lemp had 4 receptions, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns, including 1 score of 85 yards. The defense was giving Brecksville quarterback Nate Henninger and the Brecksville offense all kinds of troubles as they held Nate Henninger to 105 yards passing. He did have a rushing touchdown in this game, but Wadsworth improves their record to 6-0, 3-0 in the conference. Brecksville drops to 3-3, and they're 1-2 in the conference. As a side note, to not only having a great game on the ground, Cooper Gray was also named homecoming king. So congratulations to him. That's worthy of a chocolate milk effort, in my opinion. Next game on the docket, we have Hudson. Now, ever since they got shut out by Highland, Hudson has been on a roll, and they did that. They shut out the Twinsburg Tigers 35-0. They had the same formula as Wadsworth has. Running game, dominant defense, and actually special teams led to this victory. Brennan Funyak, he led the Explorers on the ground with 81 yards, 1 touchdown. He did have an 83-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Chris Horner also added 52 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns. For the Tigers, another tough ball game, another tough pill to swallow. Last week they lost pretty big, 39-0 to Wadsworth. This week they dropped 35-0 to Hudson. And Coach Salter was not happy after the game. Speaking to the Akron Beacon Journal, he questioned his team's attitude and effort. Called it definitely a gut check time for his team. So those are some fighting words, for Twinsburg. Not an easy matchup coming up this week, so they're going to have to find a way to get back on that winning formula they had early in the season. But with the victory, Hudson improves to 5-1. They are 3-0 in the Natty. Twinsburg drops to 4-2. Their conference record sits at 1-2. Probably the surprise game of the week. North Royalton came through with a 48-39 victory over the Nordonia Knights. That's Nordonia's first loss of the season. They are 5-1. North Royalton improves their record to 2-4 in a game that featured over 1,000 yards of total offense. It was actually the Bears that came out on top, led by Patrick/Rory Hanna. On the ground, 35 carries, 219 yards, 3 touchdowns. Nick Piazza also added 154 yards in the air with 2 receiving touchdowns. Nolan Klingbeil had a pretty good game, only had 1 interception in this one, coming off of a 5-interception game last week. So good for him to come through. Nordonia's, however, their quarterback Stephen Faycolt had a great game. 34-49, 518 yards, 3 touchdowns. Russell Wilson type numbers, but still did not get the win. 3 receivers for the Knights had over 100 yards. Dominic Jackson led the way with 185 yards and 2 touchdowns. Colin Atha added 106 yards receiving. Grant Comiskey had 125 yards and a touchdown, but these two teams went back and forth. And Nordonia just struggles playing at North Royalton. And in talking to Solon, we'll talk about that game next. It was one of our SOT featured games of the week. But in talking to some of the assistant coaches of Solon, because they have North Royalton next, they asked about Royalton because I've seen them a couple times. And I've said they are a tough out. If they get going with the running game, they're going to cause problems for a lot of defense. And that was the issue with in this game for the Knights. North Royalton had a great running attack. They were all about running the ball. Nolan Klingbeil didn't do much to really make any mistakes, limited mistakes, and they came away with a really well-earned victory. Defense is optional in this game, but very entertaining for not only the fans, the students, but also probably the players, because we all love scoring. So good job for North Royalton as they improved to 2-4 on the year, 2-1 on the conference. Once again, Nordonia drops to 5-1. That is their first conference loss. They sit at 2-1. As I mentioned before, one of our SOT feature games of the week, I went out to Solon, and they hosted the Stowe Monroe Falls Bulldogs. And Solon actually got off to a good start. They were up 14-0 at the half. They had touchdowns by Cooper Walker. This was actually funny. Brody Cohen was able to hit one of his receivers down middle. He was going in to score right about the 5-yard line. He took a hit, the ball fumbled, went into the end zone. Cooper Walker was there. Cooper Walker was the one who fumbled the ball, but Brady Bush was there to actually recover the fumble. Looking at my notes, I have that reverse. So Brady Bush fumbled, Cooper Walker recovered. Now we're on the same track there. But Stowe did fight back in this one. Jake Harrington, this dude was all over the place, was suffering from cramps all night. Scored the first Stowe touchdown at the 9:30 mark of the third quarter on a 32-yard run. Later on in the third, Stowe tied the game on an 8-yard run by Israel Perkis. And then Stowe was able to actually hit a field goal later on. So Solon was down 17-14. That's when Solon kind of took the reins. Brody Cohen hits Cooper Walker from 27 yards out. They took a 21-17 lead with 5:17 left in the fourth. On the next drive, Stowe retakes the lead. Harrington hit Jake Miller from 18 yards out, so the score was now 24-21. Solon did a good job managing the clock, getting down the field. 26 seconds left. Brody Cohen hit Spencer Kramer. He made a great catch, was able to get his feet in bounds, secure the ball, score the touchdown. extra point was good. That put Solon up 28-24, and that would be the final score as Solon improves to 2-4. They are 1-2 in the conference. Stowe drops to 2-4. They have not yet had a victory in conference play in the Natty, but just talking with Coach Wisniewski after the game, he was very relieved. Even talking before the game, he was looking to get some players back. He was dealing with some injuries early in the year. They got some players back. The team played real hard, and they got a victory. And for Coach Wisniewski and his squad, lots of smiles going around. Students rushing the field. It definitely tell they needed this one. Just a great effort by them. So that is week 6 in the Natty. Looking into week 7 as we get that possibly up. There we go. Thank you, Ed. Stowe will travel to Brecksville. Nordonia will take on Twinsburg in Twinsburg. Solon will travel to North Royalton, and Hudson will take on Wadsworth in one of the biggest games in the Natty thus far this year. Need to take a breather. Ed, take it away.
Hey, no doubt. Great work, Josh. What a great game between Solon and Stowe. A real good game, real good game, and good for Solon to build up. Good for Solon to build that up going into North Royalton. As you mentioned, North Royalton, I mean, they won the conference last year. So you look at North Royalton's schedule up to this point. They have close losses to Valley Forge, to Brecksville. They don't get North Ridgeville. They don't lost 16-6 against North Ridgeville. It's a tough team. They're right now their worst loss is to Wadsworth. And at this point, everyone loses to Wadsworth by a decent margin. So, with North Royalton projecting out for the rest of the season, if things hold what they did last year, they're going to put themselves into a decent spot. They probably won't win the conference with the loss to Wadsworth, but they have a lot to say, especially later in the season when they got Twinsburg and Hudson to wrap up their Natty campaign.
Yeah, but like I mentioned though, their Royalton's a hard out. They have talent all across the team, especially on offense, but defense as well. So teams are going to have to come focused, ready to beat them, because if they're able to get their running game going and really chew a lot of that clock, that'll take a lot of time away from opposing teams' offenses from being on the field, and that's kind of their formula to winning this year. They've only won 2 games this year, but they've been in a lot of them. So I'm looking forward to North Royalton making a lot of noise here in the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season.
No doubt. And point taken about Hudson too. I mean, in Hudson, we'll see where Hudson's at this week. It doesn't get better. It doesn't get bigger right now than a battle against Wadsworth, the reigning co-champions of the Suburban League Natty. We'll see where Hudson has been since that shutout against Highland, because they've been playing lights out ball since that game.
Yeah, and I'm actually looking forward to that game too, because I was at that game where Hudson got shut out. So I'm looking to see how they've progressed, to see, look at live to see how well they're playing.
Absolutely. All right. So with Sean with Sean out on assignment, Josh is doing double duty here. And if he's ready to go, we'll boot up the American and we can get going there.
Well, I'm about as ready as I can be. So, not my conference. So I apologize in advance if I screw up any names, but I'm sure I'll do a better job than what Sean has done so far this year. Again, not fair because he's not here, but you know what? I really don't care.
Right.
So we're gonna start off. Copley took on Aurora, and Aurora they're having a rough go of it this season. A lot of close losses, and this one was no different. Copley gets a much-needed and hard-fought 21-14 road victory against Aurora. It was Copley quarterback Dane Winiger who had a rushing touchdown and 2 passing touchdowns in this game. His rushing touchdown it turned out to be the game winner as he ran that into the end zone with 1:09 remaining in the game. Copley running back Bryce Martin led the Indians on the ground, 24 carries, 104 yards, and a touchdown. Copley wide receiver Andrew McKnight, 2 catches, 40 yards, 2 touchdowns. He seems to have a touchdown slant going over the middle every game, and this game was no different. Aurora was led by Luke McCovern. He had a rushing touchdown Aurora does fall to 2-4 on the year. They are 1-2 in the American Division. Copley improves to 4-2, and they are 2-1 in conference play. So a big win for Copley in this one. One of the better games in the American Division this past week, it was the Roosevelt Rough Riders against the Barberton Magics, and actually Roosevelt was down in this game 22-14 at halftime and came back in the second half, scoring their first win over the Magic Six, joining the conference. They rallied down from that deficit to win 33-29. This was a big win. Barberton, they're having a rough season of it, but again, in a lot of these games, it's where the teams that aren't having these good seasons just get up for certain opponents and play hard, and this was no different. Roosevelt was led by quarterback Gavin Peeps. He threw for 268 yards, passing 2 touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. Tyler Ellington was his favorite target. He had 7 catches for 207 receiving yards and 2 touchdown receptions. Roosevelt's Mehco Jones, 16 carries, 51 yards on the ground. Barberton falls to 1-5 on the season, 0-2 in Suburban League play. Roosevelt improves to 4-2. They are 2-0 in Suburban League conference play. Revere continues on with their winning ways this season, 49-6 over Cuyahoga Falls. They dominated in all 3 phases of the game. Revere jumped out to a 49-0 lead in the first 3 quarters. Harrison Venkar scored 3 touchdowns in this game, a 42-yard touchdown reception, a 65-yard punt return for a TD, and a 23-yard touchdown run. So he, in fact, used all 3 phases of the game in that one to score. Revere quarterback Chase Clifford had 2 touchdown passes. Meach had a 14-yard touchdown pass to go along with Harrison's 42-yard touchdown reception. Revere running back James Perry had 2 rushing touchdowns in this game. And running back Brady Hadjdu, I really screwed that one up, but a great effort nonetheless. 1 rushing touchdown for the Minutemen. Cuyahoga Falls was led by running back Giovanni Tuttle. He was their lone scorer on a rushing touchdown. Cuyahoga Falls drops to 1-5 overall and 0-2 in the American Division. Revere improves to 4-2 overall. They are 1-1 in the American Division. And the final game this week in the American that we're going to go over, Highland took on Talmadge, and it was all Highland. And we'll talk about this game a little bit more with one of our scheduled guests coming up later today. Highland quarterback Grady Gibb. In this game, 5 touchdowns. He was 8 of 9 passing for 165 yards, 4 touchdown passes. He had 5 rushes for 69 yards and a rushing TD. His touchdown passes were to Lucas Girding, Casey Miser, and Evan Faust. Lucas Girding led the way, 4 catches, 104 yards with those 2 touchdowns. Casey Miser, a nice workmanlike performance, 10 carries, 104 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 receiving touchdown. Highland's defense was suffocating, and that's a quote from Sean Duffy himself. They held Talmadge to -9 rushing yards, 64 yards of total offense in this game. With the victory, Highland stays undefeated. They are 6-0 on the year, 2-0 in the American Conference, or American Division, Talmadge falls to 2-4. They are 1-1 in the American Division. Looking ahead to Week 7 in the American Division, Aurora will travel to Cuyahoga Falls. Roosevelt takes on Copley. Barberton will travel to Highland, and Talmadge will take on Revere. Sean and I got together talking text message over the weekend, and we decided that our Mehco Custom Printing Player of the Week for Week 6 nominee that went on our poll was none other than North Royalton running back Patrick/Rory Hanna. He had 35 carries for 219 yards, 3 touchdowns, and that one. And fellas, as Sean would like to say, that's what's fit to print in the Suburban League. Now, I must have some water. It's amazing when you do double duty, how much effort and that takes, but I would do nothing more than support Sean in our efforts to bring you the best Suburban League coverage this side of the Mississippi River.
Nice work.
Very good. Very good. Excellent job, Josh. Doing double duty. Thanks to Sean, not only for the PowerPoint, also for the recaps of those games. You talk about the Suburban League Natty here, and I'll make a few notes here. Obviously, I think we all know it's Highlands to lose. They are. We thought last year was a torrid pace they set. They're doing their damnedest to match that and exceed it. We'll talk more with Grady Gibb about his start to this season, but the numbers that he's put together are staggering. Video game against air staggering numbers that he is putting together so far from an efficiency standpoint. So right now, as you mentioned, Aurora having a rough go of it this year. They got a pretty big win against Revere last week, but then Copley comes and clips them this week. So as the Suburban League American is starting to come into focus here right now, you got Highland. Second tier, you got a combination of Revere, Copley, and Aurora. Now all those teams have beaten each other. They're all 1-1 against. Well, Revere and Copley still need to play. Revere still needs to play Highland as well. So we'll really see what Revere's got later in the season if they can hang on. I mean, they have some good non-conference wins against Woodridge. Kent Roosevelt has 4 wins, and that's helping them out right now as well. So we'll see if Revere is able to maintain their standing here and try to get into those Division III Region 10 playoffs. Same with Copley. We'll see what Copley can continue to do. It's an interesting note you mentioned with Roosevelt defeating Barberton for the first time since that they've been in the same conference. Roosevelt beats them and says, "Yep, we're out. We did what we needed to do." We will not be rematching next year unless they do it in the non-conference. But a lot of good. If I'm looking at the games so far for next week, I mean, any game that Revere plays that's not against Highland, I'm very interested in because, I want to see, they've been building this crescendo of continuing to win games. They got into the playoffs last year. Now, can they get into this playoffs when it's shrunk down to 12 teams? And then can they do some damage once they get there? With Copley, they're hit and miss, but they're more likely a playoff team than not. So they're in the same boat as Revere in that respect.
No, I agree with you. And seeing, I've seen Copley, I've seen Highland. Highland is almost like just a well-oiled machine. They go out there and they just play. And you quickly mentioned it. We could talk to them a little bit later, but Highland is very efficient. They are good at what they do. And it's just really great to see how well they're able to put that all together, no matter who they're playing. It's a perfect example of this is what we do. Everyone knows what we do. Try to stop us from doing it. And so far this season, nobody's been able to do that with any kind of reverence. But it's good to see Copley. Aurora, I've seen them too, just inconsistent. I know Coach Mahalik, he's probably scratching his head. How is he going to get his team to play more consistently? They still have a little bit of time to put it together, string up a few wins, and get into the playoffs. But they're going to have to put it together and just play more consistent football.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're not used to seeing a Coach Mahalik team playing inconsistently. At the very least, if anything really does them in, it's injuries. Injuries is usually the root cause of any sort of downturn that happens with that program, and they have not had that really not much either. So, to your point, we'll see if they can get back, if they can rebound and sneak into the Division 3 Region 9 playoffs later in the season. So, Josh, great job. Take a break, and we'll catch up with you here in a little bit. All right, so let's shift over to the Greater Cleveland Conference. Noah did have one game here as his feature game of the week, and then he'll go through the rest of the schedule as well. So Noah, take it away.
All right, thank you, Ed. And we begin Week 6 in the Greater Cleveland Conference, where Menor was traveling to Cleveland Heights, and the game was played as Menor did what they've been doing all season. They played all 3 phases: offense, defense, special teams, to win this game, 35-0 against Cleveland Heights. Colton Pollock actually blocked the punt and scooped and scored for a touchdown in this game for the Menor Cardinals. Menor's Drew Morgan had 7 tackles plus an assist and 2 TFLs for Menor's defense in this game. Menor has back-to-back shutouts for this season, and that is Coach Gray's defense continues to dominate on defense. Metro running back and Kent State commit Jackson Farley had 19 carries for 212 yards and 2 touchdowns. Running back Dominic Birds had 2 touchdowns. One was from 20 yards and 9 yards. As Banner improves to 6-0 with a 35-0 win against Cleveland Heights, the Tigers dropped to 1-5 on the year. And then next is Shaker Heights was traveling to Euclid. And it was actually 6-0 Panthers actually at halftime, but Coach Crill's team came out in the second half and didn't miss a beat as they would go on to win 20-7 against Shaker Heights. I'd like to thank Coach Krill for sending me Keyshawn Telfair's stats. It really, really helped me out for giving us his stats for tonight. His stats were 3 catches for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. His 2 touchdowns were from 99 yards and 52 yards. So you can see why Keyshawn Telfair, the 4-star commit, is proving why he is continuing to put up numbers every single week. Taiwan Hill for Euclid also have a 17-yard touchdown run in this game as Euclid improves to 3-3 with a 20-7 record. Shaker Heights drops to 1-5 on the year. Euclid, since 2022 to 2024, they've had 4 wins. And now this year they have 3 wins. So Coach Grill is continuing to build the program, and his team is heading into the right direction at 3-3. Medina was traveling to Strongsville in this game, and Strongsville, they've been doing what they've been doing all season long. They continue to dominate every single opponent all season, as Strongsville will get a 42-14 win against Medina. Strongsville quarterback Nick Carosella was 5-7 for 74 yards and a touchdown. He also did have 4 carries for 36 yards and a touchdown. Strongsville welcomes back Kendrick Bodie after missing the last 2 weeks due to an injury. He had 2 carries for 153 yards and 2 touchdowns. His 2 touchdowns were from 80 yards and 73 yards. Strongsville running back and freshman Austin Tadalinsky had 12 carries for 36 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Braylon Daly had 5 catches for 74 yards. Strongsville Sathan Rodak had an 89-yard kick return touchdown in this game. And then Strongsville defensive line and Ohio commit Austin Atkins had 6 sacks against the Medina offense. Medina quarterback River Bloomquist was 16-28 for 185 yards and an interception. He also did have 6 carries for 20 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Sidney Lloyd had 4 catches for 49 yards and a rushing touchdown. Wide receiver Brian Witcher had 4 catches for 62 yards. As Strongsville improves to 5-1 for the first time since 2014 with a 42-14 win. Medina drops to 2-4 on the year. And then one of the SOT featured games of the week in the Greater Cleveland Conference was the Lorraine Titans traveling to the Brunswick Blue Devils. And this was an interesting first half, guys. And this was 14-12. Lorraine kind of made it a little bit of a game for Coach Carter's team. But Coach Carter's team, they came out on fire in the second half thanks to a dominating defense that really helped Brunswick's offense really produce a lot of points in the second half as Brunswick scored 25 points in the second half with a lot of help with a couple interceptions on their defense. And that as Brunswick improves to 3-3 on the year, Lorraine drops to 1-5 as Brunswick would get a 39-18 win against Lorraine. Brunswick quarterback Sean Barnett was 8-15 for 148 yards. He had 10 carries for 62 yards and 4 touchdowns in this game. Brunswick wide receiver Cohen Issa had 5 catches for 122 yards. Brunswick running back Gavin Ballack had a touchdown in this game. Running back Eli Nichols had 9 carries for 78 yards. Lorraine quarterback David Whitaker was 11 of 18 for 186 yards and a touchdown. Running back Tori Allen had 14 carries for 71 yards. Running back William Jones had 6 carries for 84 yards and a touchdown. And Lorraine wide receiver Brad Adamini had 6 catches for 222 yards and a touchdown as Brunswick wins 39-18. The GCC Player of the Week in Week 6 was none other than Euclid wide receiver / cornerback Keyshawn Telfair, who had 2 touchdowns in this game against Shaker Heights. As we look ahead to Week 7 in the Greater Cleveland Conference, Euclid travels to Brunswick, 2 teams that are 3-3. It should be a very interesting game. Lorraine travels to Shaker Heights, 2 teams that are both at 1-5. One of them's going to get their second win on the year. Cleveland Heights travels to Medina, a lot of playoff points in that game. And then last but not least is the Greater Cleveland Conference Championship rematch from last year. 5-1 Strongsville against 6-0 Menor. What a great game that's going to be. As we head, we will send it back to you.
Hey, great job, Noah. At the Lorraine Brunswick game, which you were in person at, what we saw earlier for Brunswick, they a lot of turnovers. They were losing this turnover battle earlier in the season. It seems they've kind of flipped the script on that one. You mentioned in your recap, they were able to create some more offensive opportunities because of an opportunistic defense. Talk a little bit about what you saw at Brunswick, specifically against Lorraine, and what they can carry through to Euclid this week.
Yeah, I felt like their defense did a really good job in the second half, really improving. And interesting note, they stopped Lorraine at the 1 yard line before halftime to really take the 14-12 lead in this game. So I felt like that gave a lot of momentum for the defense to really get those takeaways, which really helped quarterback Sean Burnett. Had a 4-touchdown game. Like I mentioned, he had a couple rushing touchdowns in the second half, which I felt like really gave Brunswick a lot of confidence going into halftime, in which they won that game against Lorraine 39-18.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll equate Brunswick right now to North Royalton in this fashion. They're going to be a tough out. They play as long if they can keep the turnover battle either even or in their favor, they can give themselves a good chance to win. I mean, you're looking at their non-conference losses. The scores are a little bit deceiving based off of how the game was actually played. Sean Barnett was kicking the rust off in week 1 against Berea Mid-Park and gave Berea Mid-Park, Berea Mid-Park was able to get a lot more opportunities offensively because of the turnovers. Really the same thing with Olmsted Falls, but Brunswick played tough in both those games. Mentor's on another level right now from most of the teams in the conference. Maybe Strongsville might have something to say about that this week. Speaking of which, one more question about the conference here. We talk about Mentor's offense a lot, and rightfully so, but their defense has been really stepping up as of late. Talk a little bit about their defensive efforts here.
Yeah, their defense has been really good. Like I mentioned, those back-to-back shutouts, and it's Coach Gray's confidence that he's believing in his defense, even though we've seen a lot of Jackson Farley in that running game and that. But I feel like it's the defense that really is getting the confidence going for how this Mentor Cardinals team is really continuing to pave their way to really get another GCC title and hopefully get a regional championship for this season.
Yeah, Mentor's firing on all cylinders right now, and their toughest challenge is coming up this week. A tremendous matchup, which we may be talking a little bit more about later. Just to tease that one. Noah, great job as always with the Greater Cleveland Conference. All right, let's shift over to the Southwestern Conference. We did have our last feature game of the week was part of this conference, and boy, what a game that was. We really had out of the 4 games, 3 of them were really, really good, and there's no one better to bring us that action than Rob Troutman. So, Rob, take it away for the Southwestern Conference.
Hey, thanks, Ed. And here in Week 6 in the Southwestern Conference, we'll start as Elyria traveled to Avon Lake. And it was sophomore quarterback Dawson Tenbrick. He couldn't play in this game. He has some injuries he's dealing with, trying to get him healthy. But there was a wide receiver that helped out in this game, and he'll be on our show here at 8:25. It was senior wide receiver Aidan Stewart. He started at quarterback. He passed for 90 yards and a touchdown, while he ran for 75 yards and 2 more touchdowns on 9 carries. He also hit a 39-yard field goal in this game and handled most of the kickoff duties in this game. The only thing the senior wide receiver didn't do in this game, he didn't catch a pass, which is surprising since Josh talked about 3 phases of the game. Aidan Stewart did 3 phases in this game: run the football, kick the football, and also throw it in this game. And it was 42-0 Avon Lake with a big win over Elyria here. Avon Lake, they had 238 yards rushing and held Illyria's offense, causing 5 turnovers in this game, and that's been what's been going on for Elyria, the turnover battle. They have really struggled with. But the Shoremen, they jumped out to a 14-0 lead with Ezra Jones and Aidan Stewart scoring. Jones, Ezra Jones, the running back for Avon Lake, he finished with 139 yards rushing in the game. And Avon Lake, they really didn't look back in this one as, again, they win big, 42-0. They improved to 3-3. They're 3-0 in conference as Elyria drops to 0-6, 0-3. Here's a really good game. North Ridgeville at Midview. And this is a rivalry game that no matter what the records are, it seems like they always have these close games. And after 8 lead changes in this game, North Ridgeville, they faced a 4th and 20 on their final drive, and that's when quarterback Cole Miller, he found wide receiver Dylan DeShazo for a 41-yard pass, and that set up the Rangers at the Midview 1-yard line. The Rangers quarterback Miller, he actually would run it in 2 plays later. He rushed for 113 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game, and also 163 yards passing in the game, which he threw to his favorite target, DeShazo. He had 6 catches, 142 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the game. And this game really went back and forth. You got to give credit to Midview. They didn't give up in this game. And once again, Midview's Marcus McMahon, he had 171 yards and 3 touchdowns. He continues to lead this Midview Middies team. Midview, they did fight till the end. They got close. And then when Ridgeville scored that game-winning drive and touchdown, they fell here 28-24. North Ridgeville improves to 5-1 as Midview drops to 3-3. But Midview, a few heartbreak losses. You know, they were at Berea Mid-Park, and in the second half they closed to within one point and then lost by a few touchdowns. But they are hanging tough, and they're doing a really good job. Coach Armstrong has that team playing really hard. You could see they're developing, and they're right there, just couldn't pull it off. But Midview 0-3 in conference, 3-3 overall. North Ridgeville 5-1, 2-1 in conference. Avon at Berea Mid-Park, and Avon was without some of their starters. They were without 2 starting running backs in this game, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But the Eagles, they led 21-7 in the second quarter and were driving to take a 3-score lead, and that's when quarterback Blake Elder, he was picked off by Titans junior Nick Reese, who returned the ball inside the 20-yard line to set up a short touchdown. And Berea Mid-Park, man, they hung tough in this game. Avon would respond. They had another touchdown drive, and it was Tyson Clay as he returned the ensuing kickoff 95 yards, and he cut the lead to 7. It was his second touchdown of the night, his first coming on an 86-yard catch and run from junior quarterback Dylan Papashek. At halftime, this game was 28-21 in Avon's favor, and you got to give credit to Berea Mid-Park. Coach Hunick had his team playing at a really high level and playing well. After half, though, Coach Elder, one thing he did was pound the football on the ground. Both Keontae Smith and Cam Wendell were out of this game. They're dealing with some minor injuries, wanted to get them healthy. So some of the younger backs came in. It was Michael Colburn, sophomore Adrian Ramirez. He had 2 touchdowns, and junior Dean Andress, he also was in this game. And between the 3 of them, they combined for 204 yards and 5 touchdowns on 27 carries. And the Eagles rushed for 264 yards as a team. Avon, they would pull away in this one as they, after half, went on a little bit of a run, and they win big here. 55-27 was the final. Give credit, Berea Mid-Park, they played exceptionally well here. They held tough, and in the end, Avon just, I think their depth caught Berea Mid-Park here in this one as Avon improves to 5-1, 3-0 in conference. Berea Mid-Park falls to 4-2, 2-1 in conference. All right, now our featured game of the week, and we'll put this on the screen so you can see some of the highlights. If you want to see the full highlights of these games, go to our YouTube page and subscribe, and you can see all the good game footage we have here. And this was a great one. First, Olmsted Falls got on the board with a field goal. They were leading 3-0. Then quarterback Cy Christensen and Amherst, they responded on a 59-yard passing catch to wide receiver Cale Charles, and they led here 7-3. Then Owen Singleton, This guy's been leading Olmsted Falls. He got him back in the thick of it here. He would score on a touchdown run. All of a sudden, it was 10-7 Olmsted Falls and Amherst. These two teams kept going back and forth with offense and defense. Give credit to Amherst defense. They were really tough in this game, forcing Olmsted Falls in, I believe it was 3 turnovers in this game. But Christensen, he connected this time with wide receiver David Dudziak. The extra point was blocked, and I thought that could have been key as it was a 13-10 game. Then Amherst, they were up 20-10 before Owen Singleton would strike again. It was 20-16. Their extra point was no good. And then Amherst, or Olmsted Falls, they had one last chance in this game, and it was unbelievable. You'll have to watch it at the end. They had a chance in the end. They were at about the 5 to 10 yard line, somewhere in there, and they tried to run the football as time was expiring. They got the last play off. Owen Singleton made it to about the 2 yard line and was tackled, and that's how Amherst would win it as they went nuts in the end of this game. They win 20-16 as time expired. They held Olmsted Falls, and what a game it was on their new field, and a lot of really good plays in this game, and the defenses came to play. But give credit where credit due. Cy Christensen, he has his hand on a lot of these plays. He had 235 yards and 3 touchdowns, 1 running, 2 passing. And for Olmsted Falls, it was Owen Singleton. He had 180 yards and 2 touchdowns as he continues his hot scoring there. And again, both these teams really playing at a high level. The defenses were there. Olmsted Falls, for having 3 turnovers in this game, they still had a chance to win the game in the end. And I know Coach DeLuca probably a little disappointed, but on the other side, Coach Thome was really proud of the way his team battled in this game and held a really good Olmsted Falls team. He kept complimenting Olmsted Falls on just a great team, on being a great team, and was happy that his defense held them to 16 points. So job well done there. It was a great field. Want to thank Casey Wolf and the staff for all their hospitality at Amherst. It was a great game and just a great venue to watch the game. Now let's go to Week 7, and you can finish watching that highlight video again on our YouTube page. Week 7 in the Southwestern Conference. Appreciate it, Ed, as Ed's on the ball with this stuff. Amherst takes on Elyria. Midview travels to Avon. Avon Lake and Olmsted Falls. That should be a really good game, so keep track of that one. A lot of points probably going to be involved there. Berea Mid Park in North Ridgeville, another big game for both of these teams that are 2-1 in conference and having both really good seasons. Berea Mid Park at 4-2, North Ridgeville at 5-1, and that's the Southwestern Conference here, getting ready for Week 7.
Yeah, great job, Rob. What a great game, Olmsted Falls and Amherst, and I think Coach Thome had some great quotes from not only from when you talked to him, but also in the local papers. I mean, they haven't had a whole lot of wins on homecoming, just really based off of who they end up playing on that day, and so breaking in the new stadium with and getting a huge victory over a storied program like Olmsted Falls in the SWC is massive for Amherst. And they got an Elyria team coming up that's missing some guys. That they're gonna give them their best shot. But with Amherst continuing to move on through their season, they're getting ready to put themselves in position to potentially make the playoffs here in Division II, Region 6. I mean, the games that are, the Avon Lake and Olmsted Falls and Berea Mid Park and North Ridgeville, those are some heavy-hitting games coming up here, Rob. And right now, as it usually is, it's Avon's conference to lose until someone rips it from them. And
yeah,
the depth that Avon has, they are able to replace 1-for-1, it seems like, in pretty much every position. I mean, like you said, Berea Mid Park gave him a haymaker, and Avon came back and passed that test with spades.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And remember this, I mean, Avon Lake was a team that started 0-3, and now all of a sudden they rack off 3 wins there. Olmsted Falls, I'm interested to see how they bounce back. I know talking to Coach DeLuca, was disappointed with the Avon game a little bit there, but they had another tough game against Amherst. Amherst defense was very tough all over the field. Like you say, you don't see Olmsted Falls really as a sloppy team that turns the ball over, but in this game they were a little bit sloppy and they turned the ball over, and Amherst took advantage of it. So how are they going to bounce back against Avon Lake, who's kind of on a roll a little bit here in the Southwestern Conference? And I think that's going to be a really good game. Olmsted Falls is a tough place to play, so a good place for Olmsted Falls to be if they want to bounce back and get a big win there.
Absolutely. Avon Lake's record is very deceptive. Again, a tough non-conference schedule, but we know that they always come to play. We know nothing else about Coach Kostelnik, and we'll talk with Aidan Stewart here a little bit about that in about 8 minutes. Sorry. All right. Thank you, Rob. Great job there. My son is stapling a invitation to a kiddie party I'm apparently invited to here soon. Maybe
nice.
Kiddie party. I just found this. All right. Well, I hope I make it. All right. Let's shift over to the Cleveland West Conference, and I actually have to do more work this week because we didn't have any Cleveland West Conference games. So good effort on good job out of me. Let's start with Bay taking on Westlake. This game was there's a lot of scoring going on here. Bay and Westlake traded scores to start. The Rockets started pulling away thanks to 2 touchdowns by Rocco Hereditario and a touchdown pass from Patrick Cleary to Charlie Rogers. Westlake quarterback Mo Abdelhadi hit Trowbridge for a touchdown to cut the Demon deficit to 28-14. But Westlake and Bay can still continue to trade scores until Hereditario finished the first half with 2 rushing touchdowns. That gave Bay a 49-21 lead. And they go on to win 49-28 over the Demons. Rocco Hereditario was a stud. He had over 400 total yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown. It was super close between him and our eventual CWC Player of the Week. Charlie Rogers finished with 2 receiving touchdowns. For Westlake, Gavin McMillan, he had 4 catches for 106 yards and a touchdown. Bay with a 49-28 victory. Bay improves to 4-2 overall, 2-1 in the conference. Westlake falls to 1-5 overall, 0-3 in the conference. All right, Buckeye took on Valley Forge, and man, the Bucks took it to the Patriots. They took a 41-7 lead. Buckeye running back Liam Phillips scored 2 touchdowns on the ground. Buckeye tight end Derek Snyderburn caught 3 passes for 83 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had a pick on defense. He's modeling his season right after Trey Weidenmeyer, where it just seems like every time he catches the pass, it's a touchdown. Quarterback for Buckeye, Turner Dolata, he was 5 of 6 passing for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Buckeye defense picked off Sean Frank once. They forced and recovered a fumble, and they turned the Patriots over on downs 3 times. So the Buckeye defense was on their game. For Valley Forge, Sean Frank completed 6 of 13 passing for 81 yards and a touchdown. Damon Watts had 65 yards on 24 carries. Frank found Evans Happy for 11-yard touchdown, followed up by touchdowns by Mason Furukawa and John Purcell after the game had been decided. Buckeye with a 41-20 victory over Valley Forge. Buckeye remains undefeated at 6-0 overall, 3-0 in the conference. Valley Forge is 2-4 overall, 1-2 in the conference. Rocky River took on Normandy. This one's all Pirates as they celebrated homecoming weekend. Senior quarterback Ryan Taylor returned. He threw 2 touchdowns to Rowan Kennedy. He also ran for another. Rowan Kennedy was a monster. He had 152 yards receiving with 2 touchdowns. The Pirates' defense was phenomenal. They scored twice on defense. Enough. You got to get out of here. Once on a fumble recovery by Stephen McHenry and a pick 6 by Michael Wargle that covered 40 yards. Senior running back Joey DeSalvo rushed for a 25-yard touchdown. And for Normandy, Ray Brown led the team in yardage gain. He had 12 carries for 54 yards, but Normandy was no match for the Pirates. Rocky River wins 48-0. Rocky River improves to 5-1 overall. They are undefeated in the conference. Normandy falls to 1-5 overall, and they are looking for their first CWC win. North Olmsted, they have continued their sudden outburst on the offensive end. They put on a second consecutive offensive show after struggling in the non-conference. Amir Silmi, he rushed for 4 touchdowns. He covered over 200 yards on the ground. Quarterback Will McPherson and running back Mark Rawls scored the other 2 touchdowns for the Eagles. For Lakewood, Braden Greenfield scored from 39 yards out, while Ty Taylor returned a kickoff 92 yards for a Ranger score. North Olmsted with a big victory, 42-14. The Eagles improved to 2-4 overall, 2-1 in the conference. Lakewood drops to 3-3 overall, 1-2 in the conference. The CWC Player of the Week is North Olmsted running back Amir Silmi. He had over 200 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. Just been the last 2 weeks, North Olmsted's put on an offensive clinic, which is a stark difference from what they've seen in the first 4 games, though their first 4 opponents were very good opponents. Again, it was a tough one between Rocco Reditario and Amir Silmi. I have a feeling Rocco Reditario will make his presence felt here later on in the season to get the CWC Player of the Week nominee. Next week in conference play, Valley Forge will take on Bay. Westlake travels to Buckeye. Lakewood will take on Normandy. And this game suddenly got a lot more interesting with how North Olmsted's been playing the last few weeks. Rocky River will take on North Olmsted. Many of you remember last year, Rocky River and North Olmsted battled to the end there. A little bit of controversy at the end there, where Rocky River was able to get the Duke last year. And I'm looking forward to seeing what will happen this year. Now the North Olmsted has just been on fire offensively lately. Rocky River, it doesn't matter who's quarterbacking them. They are a finely tuned machine as well. Buckeye and Westlake. Westlake put up points. They haven't seen a defense like Buckeye yet, so I'm interested in seeing how Mo Abdelhadi will handle that fantastic Buckeye defense. Lakewood and Normandy. Normandy struggling a little bit. Lakewood, quite honestly, wasn't expecting what happened against North Olmsted, especially with what they have a quarterback and the weapons around him. Valley Forge and Bay, I think this will be a good game. If this was a game from last year, it was pretty much a single T 1940s offense, no offense to Coach Rott, against a wing T in Valley Forge. Now, Valley Forge has retained the wing T, but Bay Village is starting to spread it out a little bit more under Coach Big Rig, and really getting Charlie Rogers out in space. Same with Rocco Reditario. If they're getting more receiving touchdowns than they probably have in the last few years. So a lot of good stuff going on in the Cleveland West Conference. All right, with that, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, hopefully, Rob, is he in the room?
Hold on. He is not yet.
All right, very good. Well, we're going to take a step back anyways. When we come back, we're looking to have Avon Lake wide receiver Aidan Stewart join us, followed by Highland quarterback Grady Gibb. We will go through the results of our Mehco Custom Printing Player of the Week contest, and we'll tell you where we're going next this coming Friday for Week 7. This is Sports on Tap's coverage of the high school football season. This is the recap show presented by Raymond Fountain State Farm Insurance. We'll be right back.
Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Fountain State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
We've got the experience, the passion, and the beach to make your event a smash hit. Whether it's a romantic wedding, a lively sports venue, or a rocking high school dance, Troutland Entertainment has you covered. Contact them at 330-414-4261 or email them at troutlandent@gmail.com. That's troutlandent@gmail.com.
It's all about the deal at Brunswick Auto Mart. Save big this month with deals like this. Don't miss the Make This the Summer event and lease a new 2025 Ram 1500 Night Edition Crew Cab 4x4 with heated side mirrors, parking sensors, backup cam, Apple CarPlay, and lane departure warning for just $319 a month. Brunswick Auto Mart. Car buying made truly simple.
Welcome back to Sports on Tap's coverage of the high school football season. This is our Week 6 recap presented by Raymond Felton State Farm Insurance. We want to thank him and along with all of our all the other sponsors. You got to hear a word from them. Make sure you stick around after the show. Get another word from our great sponsors. We have gone through the recaps of the Greater Cleveland Conference, the Suburban League, the Cleveland West Conference, and the Southwestern Conference. We are now a little bit later. We'll be joined by Highland quarterback Grady Gibb. We'll go through the Mehco Custom Printing Player of the Week results, tell you where we're going next week. But the moment at hand here, we are joined by, it might be a rarity for a player, a repeat appearance here. We're joined by Avon Lake, wide receiver. Although he did a little bit more than that this past week. We're joined by Aidan Stewart from Avon Lake. How you doing tonight, Aidan?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, thanks for taking time to join us. We know during the season it's a little tough to you're focusing a bunch on the next opponent and the like. But we're thankful you had the time. Yeah, we're thankful you had some time to join us tonight. Talk a little bit about the game against Elyria. I'll preface that by saying we know Elyria missing some guys, but a prideful program nonetheless. Knowing Coach Kostelnik, especially from his pedigree, you take no one lightly, no matter what the situation is. But talk about the Elyria game a little bit.
Yeah, going into it, it was no different than any other week. We weren't going to take him easy at all. So it was also weird for me having to practice quarterback all week. I had 72 hours to learn a completely new position. So it was definitely new for me. So going into that game, I had to play quarterback because our quarterback was hurt. Dawson got hurt. He hurt his ankle. But, yeah, I got to play quarterback. It was actually a lot of fun. It was way more fun than I thought it was going to be. But I have a new respect for quarterback, though, because that was the hardest thing I've done. It takes a lot to be a quarterback, and I respect it.
Aidan, it's always great to see you on. And again, thank you for taking the time and joining us out of your night. What a night that you had. You played quarterback. You were 4 of 10 for 90 yards, and you ran and threw for a touchdown. You also had a 39-yard field goal. I want to talk about that offensive line because I feel like they're the real ones that are really helping you out to play quarterback at the position that you really had never played for, led by, of course, Ohio State, the Max Riley, and those boys. Talk about how the offensive line really helped you out play quarterback for that night.
Oh yeah, they were awesome. If I was ever down, they were always right there. They were always picking me back up, and it was great. It was weird because I'm usually on the numbers outside. It's me. I got no one helping me. It's just me in a corner. But to have like 5 guys who they have your back every play, it's a great feeling. And they blocked their asses off. They were awesome, and yeah, it was an awesome experience to be a part of.
Aidan, I'd like to talk about that a little bit more. Talk about just that. You said you had 72 hours to learn the quarterback position.
Mhm.
Can you just talk about like going from being on the numbers, just looking at the coverage on the one side, looking at your coverage of the corner and the safety, and then now being a quarterback, you have to look at the total coverage. You got to look at where the linebackers are. Just talk about that difference and what kind of crash course you had with the coaches.
Yeah, receiver helped a lot because I could, identify coverages with the safeties in the corner, so it wasn't like that far off. I already kind of knew how to do that, but it was weird doing it from the quarterback position, having to look left and then right, and then like know what's going to happen next. And linebackers was new, so to know what the linebackers were all doing, that was definitely different. But it was very different, but in a lot of ways, at receiver, it did help because I knew where everyone was supposed to be. Because, as a receiver, I always like to know what everyone's doing on each play. So going in and learning those plays wasn't as hard, and it ended up being fine in terms of that. So I think the biggest challenge was how fast you have to do everything at quarterback. And I didn't realize that until we were in the game, and it was way faster than I thought.
Were you able to check out of a play? Were you able to audible a little bit? Did coach give you that?
No, what I got was what I got. I don't even know. I honestly don't even know what I would change it to. Like, I literally had 3 days to learn that, and I was just going with whatever the coaches told me.
Yeah, that's crazy to learn an offense in 3 days and do as well as you did. You got to come out of that with some confidence. That's pretty impressive to even pass for 90 yards, and you got a touchdown in there running and passing. And then, not to mention, you kicked the football. And we were talking a little bit before you went on about some of your experience kicking before you came to Avon Lake. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and how it kind of prepared you for the moment of kicking and punting now for Avon Lake? It's like, you do it all for Avon Lake. It's unbelievable now.
Yeah. So I used to play Australian rules football, and everything in that sport's about kicking. So actually, when I came here, I actually wanted to be a kicker, but we always had one. So senior year, there wasn't really anyone, so I kind of stepped into that role. But that definitely prepared me, just because it's like everyone in Australia learns how to kick, whereas everyone here learns how to throw. It's just very different. It's a weird, it's like literally opposites. And I know people are always saying it's like literally opposite sides of the world, but it's like completely different. And just prepared me, because when I started kicking, I kind of was already natural at it, and it just helped me get right into it.
As a former kicker, which I've never mentioned on this show one bit, that's a joke, it's all.
Yeah.
No, dude, I get it, man. We're the minority here. We are the minority as people who can kick football and also play a position, and not only that, play multiple positions and play them very well as you do. Let's talk a little bit about the journey, the season journey so far. A very tough non-conference schedule, but very competitive.
Yeah.
So as you gotten back into SWC action, what's the message that Coach Kostelnik and the coaches have had as the season has progressed? Obviously, the start of the season isn't what you wanted it to be, but now you're back at 3-3, and you get a real good look at everything's still in front of you as far as conference championship, getting a playoff spot, possibly hosting, getting a top 4, all of that.
Yeah. So obviously the first 3 games didn't go our way, and we remember that. We're not going to forget that. But the way we looked at it is we start in conference, and it's a new schedule. Forget about that 0-0, and we went into Midview, Elyria, and Amherst, just 0-0, clean slate, just play football and have fun. And now we're back to 3-3, so now it's really 0-0, and we're going into the gauntlet. We call it the gauntlet of our schedule. We're going to the Falls, Ridgeville, then Avon, then Brea. All really good teams. So, yeah, in practice, we're all sorry, I'm gonna call my bad.
No
But
problem.
we're all really locked in. It's all about the future. You know, we're getting ready for the next coming weeks, and we're preparing for falls right now. Wing tee and practice is something.
It is. That's not a fun.
No.
That's not fun to prepare for.
No, it's like hell week.
It is, because a team like Olmsted Falls probably runs it as well as a team like Chardon did back when I was in high school, and you can't replicate the speed of which the fakes are happening, the motions, all the buck sweeps. It's very tough to replicate in practice.
Yeah.
And I'm sure coaches are drilling this into you. It's all about assignment football. If you got dive, you got the dive. If you got pitch man, you have to have the pitch man. Like, you can't get caught doing not your job in this type of when you're playing a team like that.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a lot having to learn a whole new offense. We had a meeting before our meeting after school about it, so that's how you know we were we really had to nail this in.
Well, you're in a peak into corporate America right there, having meetings before the meetings.
Yeah,
that's
no doubt.
Great life to live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Aidan, let's kind of add on to that, because, when you get into the Southwestern Conference, you've seen these teams, every year. You kind of have a familiarity with them. But how, when you go up against a team like Olmsted Falls, how do things change year in and year out? I know the players change. I know different aspects of that, but it's still the same, the foundation pieces. So, what do you guys have to do to gear up to play a team like Olmsted Falls or a team like Avon? And what do you do personally just to kind of, get yourself in a frame of mind of, hey, let's look at this. Maybe I could do this a little bit differently to get that edge.
It's all about being more physical. We just need to physically dominate them. That's all. Make them give up, and then that's how we beat a team like Falls, where they're running the ball every play, and we know that, but they don't care. They're just going to hit you anyway, and that's about as football gets. So the only way to stop that is just being more physical. So in practice, it's all about just being more physical, beating the guy in front of you, and reading your key. You got to watch the ball, all their things that they do, like cowboy motions and all that, just knowing what you're looking at and just reading your guy.
Yeah, Olmsted Falls, I got to see them versus Amherst. Always a tough team. They have some really good players in, looking at Owen Stewart, he's a solid, or Owen Singleton rather. He's been one of their main guys, but they have like a three-headed monster in running backs, and then they pass when they have to. Without giving anything away, when you look at Olmsted Falls and some of their players, what do you notice that some of their players do well, like in Owen Singleton, who's a senior like you, trying to lead that team?
They're just really good at getting extra yards, and especially in an offense like that. Like 1 yard is the difference between punting and getting a first down. And they're just really good at fighting for extra yards. That offensive line gets off the ball really well. They are very physical. They'll fight the D linemen until they're on the ground. And the whole offense just works together. And it's really just about that to me, I guess. But they're just really shifty. They always know how to get extra yards, and they're just really good at what they do.
Absolutely.
And no doubt about that. Well, hey, Aidan, thanks again for taking the time to join us. Always enjoy talking to you. And best of luck this week against Falls, and then for the rest of the season as you're wrapping up SWC play and hopefully getting into the Division II Region 6 playoffs.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Aidan. Good luck this week.
Thanks, Aidan.
That is Avon Lake wide receiver / quarterback / kicker / punter. Whatever slash you want to throw in there, he does it all. Aidan Stewart joins us again, the second returning appearance on our show. He's in friend of show status by default there. So we're a great interview, real good perspectives on things, and We're real happy we had a chance to talk to him as they lead in, as they're getting ready for the game against Umstead Falls. All right, we're headed from the SWC to the Suburban League American Conference, and we are joined by probably one of the most efficient quarterbacks that are out there right now, and he's got this Highland offense humming real well. We're joined by Grady Gibb from Highland. Well, I was going to say Coach Gibbons because Gibbons. Yeah, man. I don't know how many times you hear that, but maybe that was the first time. But Grady Gibb joins us from Highland. Grady, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. How about you?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Thanks for taking the time to join us tonight. You've had a tremendous season up to this point. A big victory last week. You had 9 passes for almost 200 yards. You had a lot of yards on the ground, a lot of touchdowns. Talk about a little bit about how efficient your offense has been this season. Just really how good you guys have been.
It's just been amazing, just having the group of guys we have around us and just the studs we have at the receiver position and running back position, and our O-line just allowing us to play 11 as one and allowing us to go out there and dominate every week.
Grady, thank you for taking the time and joining us out of your night. You guys are 6-0. You guys have just been dominating every team throughout the first couple of weeks, and you're having a great season so far. You're having 1,000 yards passing and 12 touchdowns. You and Casey Mize have really been on a tear level for this season. But talk about how the offensive line has just been really making big holes for you running the ball, and especially for Casey. And that, just talk about how the offensive line has been doing for you guys so far throughout the first 6 weeks of the season.
They've just been amazing, just their work ethic and just how they were doubted coming in the season, just how hard they worked in the weight room and just in all aspects of that, and just that they're coming out and dominating this year and helping us do what we do, and we're so thankful for them.
Grady, coming in as quarterback for a really high-powered, one of the top programs in the area, just talk about how your journey has been thus far, starting with off-season workouts through summer camp and now midway through the season. Just talk about your transition is moving into that starting quarterback role and solidifying that and growing in that position as you continue on this season.
Our preparation starts as soon as the season's over. Like, we got workouts every day in speed strength with Coach Gibbons. We got Hutch on Saturdays. I'm doing quarterback training with Brad Mendendler and just all sorts of stuff. My preparation, I wouldn't say it's changed from last year when I didn't start and I was on JV to now. I just kept that same approach and just kept grinding, kept working so I could get to this point. And I just feel like it's helped me out a lot, and just the assets I have around me.
Well, just to kind of go with that, what's, for you, if there has been, what's the major differences with, regards to, with the exception of the actual play on the field, but, that difference between being the starting quarterback for JV, now starting quarterback on varsity Friday Night Lights for a team like Highland?
I think there's added pressure from playing on JV to varsity, just being in front of the hometown crowd and stuff, but it's just been, I've had so much fun. Like, it's been the time of my life, and just appreciative for every moment, and just the guys around me just make it so great.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, go ahead, Ed. I don't know if Ed was there. Yeah, Grady, talk about, Highland has had such a great program, and I feel like it's every year they keep retooling, and you kind of see a lot of players come through Highland, whether it's quarterback, running back, different positions, that just have a lot of success. So if you've seen some Highland teams, have you gotten mentored by some former quarterbacks, or has there been other players that kind of have taken you under their shoulder or under their wing and say, this is kind of how I do things and I've had success, this is how you can do it? Because I know, like you said, there is a lot of added pressure, and it's such a successful program, and it seems like you guys haven't really skipped a beat this year.
Absolutely. Dylan Borla was quarterback last year, was just huge for my development. Like, someone I'm truly close with. Like, we used to play golf with each other all the time, and just being with him and just allowing him to, he's taught me so much. He's been one of the biggest people in my development, and just reading coverages and understanding and seeing stuff, and just, we still text before every game. He's always asking how I feel about the game and texting me after and stuff. He's just great. One of my best friends.
Very cool.
Hey, that's great to hear. We're talking with quarterback for Highland, Grady Gibb. You know, the Medina Gazette had a great article about you, and in your program, and I'm curious. You mentioned the value of the JV program. If I'm not mistaken, this is the third or fourth straight year where the starting varsity quarterback has been a first-year starter as a senior. What that lends to is the JV program really prepares you guys as sophomores and juniors to be ready to go as a senior. So talk a little bit about that.
100%, and just also just practicing against the guys that we practice against, like practicing against like Jameson Gordon and Lucas Stiles my freshman year as well too. And then just being able to go out there on JV and just get those reps is crucial, and just it gets you prepared. It's not the same as varsity football, but it's still getting in-game reps against other players, and it's really important to our growth. And the JV is something we take very seriously over at Highland. It's just holding that standard. Like I lost one time my 2 years starting. I think we had like a 2-year winning streak of not losing on JV. It's something that we really focus on because it really truly helps you out when you get to the varsity level.
Grady, I want to talk about your defense for a moment, if we can. From a quarterback's perspective, knowing that you have such a dominant defense on the other side of the ball when you go out there, does that lend you as a quarterback to maybe just kind of, I don't want to say make this sound bad, but kind of relax a little bit, really focus in, knowing that if you do your job or orchestrating the offense, you're able to do that without the pressure of knowing that you have to score, because you have that great defense that will a lot of times turn the ball over for you, back to you, and just eliminates the opposing offense from scoring.
100%. They're just the work they put in day out. It just shows on the field. They go out there and they dominate, and they just 3 and out after every drive. And like even if we make a mistake on offense, we, like you said, we know we got the defense able to pick us up, and we're not stressing trying to come back in games or worried about being off the field for a long time, because we're just back on the field right after. And it's so important and so huge to our team overall, and we're so thankful for them.
Hey, Grady, the last few years, Highland has made very deep playoff runs, and we've talked with Coach Gibbons about this, maybe some of the other players as well. How valuable for a player is it that you guys that you get those extra reps, those extra practices now as you're coming into your senior year? You're in your senior year, sorry, but you've had the equivalent of a full season just in playoff practices up to this point. How crucial is that for your development and being able to continue to be out on the field, even as a freshman or even as a sophomore, but still being part of the team and getting those reps?
It's extremely crucial, and something that Gibbons talks about all the time, and just being just blessed as a freshman, being able to, like, because we were allowed to go practice with the varsity, just getting those reps and that exposure is just huge. It's a whole nother season, like you said, and just a practice. And it's just, so like I'm a senior, but I've really been practicing for 5 years, and it's just those added reps are crucial to our overall development as players.
Yeah, Grady, talk about what it's like to play for Coach Gibbons. I mean, he's been around the game so long, and he's been at Highland, and he's really got that culture so positive that every single year, there's just a lot of great players that have gone through Highland in the past years. What's it like to play for a guy like Coach Gibbons, who you can tell he wants his team to play a certain way and expects high standards from you guys?
It's awesome. And just like you said, he holds us to high standards. Like, it doesn't matter who you're playing that week. You wouldn't be able to tell who you're playing. And he's just always trying to make us push us to the best. And whether we're in the weight room, whether it's in season, out of season, if someone's like not going as hard as they can, he's letting them hear it. He's holding them to standards, and just his ability to command us and lead us, and just keep sure we're keeping our heads on straight and not like against a different team, not taking as much of a focus, and just making sure we're staying focused on the end goal and not letting us get distracted.
And I think with that, he holds himself to a high standard too, and I think that's pretty apparent throughout the program that the standards he holds for you folks, he probably even holds a higher standard for himself and his coaching and the coaching staff, and I think that seems that comes through to the players as well. So So with that, Grady, again, tremendous start to the season so far. We're pretty confident you're going to have more than Coach Gibbons isn't going to like us saying this, but we're pretty confident you're going to have a few more games after the regular season here to continue on your pace. I'll do it. He can text me afterwards and yell at me because I'm the one saying it, not you. But good luck this week against Barberton, and as you wrap up your Suburban League American Conference schedule. And hopefully leading into a long November worth of football. But great job so far this year. Keep it going, and we'll check in. We'll check in with the Hornets here later in the season.
All right, thank you for having me so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Grady. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
That is senior quarterback for the Highland Hornets, Grady Gibb, joining us. I mean, the numbers that he has put up so far are staggering. 53 of 60. He's only had 7 incomplete passes.
Whoa.
For 1,008 passing yards, 12 touchdowns. Again, credit to the Medina County Gazette, Albert Grindle, one of the foremost resource on Medina County football is Albert Grindle, and he does a fantastic job for the Gazette. And it's just he's taken the efficiency that we've seen out of Buckeye quarterbacks the last few years, and is taking it to another level. And when you have a team that is as dominant as Highland is with Casey Meiser, that offensive line, there's not a. I'm not saying there's not a whole lot for Grady Gibb to do, but when he's asked to do something, he passes with flying colors. No.
Yeah, and you're right, Ed. And it's like he's a great example of a game manager, and that's not a bad term. It's not derogatory. He does his job. He does what he's supposed to do. Manage the offense. When you have a dominant defense and you have a running game led by Casey Meiser, that's what a quarterback's job is to do, and he goes out there and he performs it very well. I didn't know that 7 incompletions so far through six games crazy. Is pretty outstanding, and that's good work. And that's just he mentioned it when we were talking to him, preparation. He's been preparing for this for a long time, and that experience on JV with the JV, the Highland program, that experience is paying dividends with his senior year, and he's just leading this offense to another great, so far undefeated season.
And I think,
no doubt about that.
I think it helps too. I mean, like you talked about Casey Meiser. I mean, when you think of Highland, that's pretty much what you think about. You don't think of them as a crazy, unbelievable passing team, but I mean, it's showing you that, man, if they can pass and run the football, they're just a dangerous team that is going to be tough to beat when it comes into the playoff time. And I think that's kind of where Avon does in the Southwestern Conference too, is they figured out how to run the football, but then if you can balance it out with a passing game, you're pretty dangerous in high school football, and you're tough to stop. So I think that's what Highland is just rolling right now, and it starts at the top with Coach Gibbons, and he's got a lot of talent, and those kids believe in, and they're doing a great job.
Hey, no doubt. All right, with that, let's shift over to the Mehco Custom Printing Player of the Week contest. The final numbers are in, and Josh is gonna talk to us about that.
Yeah, this is by far our closest competition I believe we've had thus far this season. Nominees again, just to rehash, from Euclid, from the Greater Cleveland Conference, Euclid wide receiver / DB Keyshawn Telfair. From North Olmsted, Amir Silmi. From North Royalton, Patrick / Rory Hanna. And from Avon, Blake Elder. And so these were the percentages. We got a good number of votes: 19.7, 32.6, 18.9, 28.8, and the final two, we'll start with the winner. The winner of this week goes to Amir Silmi from North Olmsted with 32.6% of the votes. So the run of the Southwestern Conference Players of the Week, it has ended, at least for this week. Blake Elder did finish second with 28.8. Now, fellas, I looked at this poll right before it closed, and there was only 0.6% separating Amir and Blake. Last couple votes really put it ahead. So our Week 6 Mehco Custom Printing Player of the Week goes to Amir Silmi of North Olmsted. He'll be receiving a nice little Player of the Week T-shirt courtesy of Mehco Custom Printing, and a good goodie bag from Raymond Felton State Farm.
And here's a teaser. Maybe I'll hand it to him myself.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
I don't know, Rob. Why would you say that? Where exactly where will you be going this week for our live
Spoiler alert.
I know, yeah, I know. I spoiled it right there. Well, you know what? We'll get right into our featured games here. And, I'm going to kind of go right down the road here in North Olmsted, and I'll get to see Amir myself. And what a game he had last week. Can North Olmsted upset the Rocky River Pirates as the Pirates take on North Olmsted in North Olmsted? And Rocky River's on a roll. They're 5-1. But North Olmsted, how about this team? Last 2 games, over 40 points. They're starting to figure out this offense and getting some back-to-back wins here. It's going to be they had a good game last year, Ed. I think this could be another good one. So I'll be headed to North Olmsted as Rocky River takes on the North Olmsted Eagles.
Very good.
I'll go next, boys. And before I get to my game, obviously Sean Duffy couldn't be here with us. He was out on assignments and that. So he was kind enough to really text me his game of the week. And he was at this stadium last year, and no doubt about it, he's going to be back at this stadium once again. Another Greater Cleveland Conference game, boys. We got 2 of them this week, as Sean Duffy will be heading to the GTO in Menor, where 5-1 Strongsville takes on 6-0 Menor. This is a big game in the Greater Cleveland Conference, a championship rematch from last year in which Menor won. Can Strongsville get over the hump from Menor? And I feel like this is going to be a good game between 2 teams that have great coaches and great players. We'll see if Strongsville can really hang with Menor. But, again, this will be a great game for this one. And now, getting into all of that, we'll get into my featured game of the week. And I feel like both of these teams not having the best of seasons in that. But the good news is about high school sports, anything can happen on every given night. And I feel like this game is going to have a lot of intel with a lot of playoff points. I feel like coming into this game, 2 teams that are trying to hang in that 12-team playoff format. So for my featured game of the week, I will be headed back to my high school at Ten Duke Stadium in Medina, where the 1-5 Cleveland Heights Tigers will be taking on the 2-4 Medina Bees. A lot of playoff points, and 2 teams looking to stay in that playoff bracket. Two Greater Cleveland Conference Sports on Tap featured game of the weeks. I can't wait for this one, and it should be very interesting to see how these teams will look in the Greater Cleveland Conference. You can make sure you check out our X page to make sure you see all the highlights from all of our games throughout the course of this week.
Well, last but certainly not least, got to stay in the Suburban League, that Natty. We're going to talk about one of the hottest teams in Northeast Ohio high school football right now, and that's the Hudson Explorers. After being shut out in week 2, 32-0 at the hands of the Highland Hornets, the Hudson defense has shut out 3 of their last 4 opponents. But coming into town this coming Friday is none other than the Wadsworth Grizzlies with a double-headed running attack of Gavin Madigan, Cooper Gray, Bryson Hall, quarterback, Calix Lemp as wide receiver. It's going to be a great game. One of the biggest games thus far in the Natty this season so far. Looking forward to it. Wadsworth will take on Hudson in Hudson. I'll see you there on Friday. And like Noah mentioned, Rob mentioned, Sean mentioned too, even though he's not here, you can follow along on our X/Twitter. Make sure you follow us along. We got some really good highlights, updates, and post-game interviews that we post on that page. And then after that, go to our YouTube page, and you can actually watch the highlights of the game. I was thinking about this, fellas. What we do on our YouTube videos, it's not really highlights. It's more of like a condensed game. You could watch the whole entire game right there on our YouTube page and see how everything went down.
Very true.
And there's no one that does a better job of covering high school sports and sports on tap. So make sure you're checking us out. Get our live updates on Friday nights. See the recap video afterwards, and you really celebrate your program, your favorite team, as we go out onto the road. All right, just to recap, Sean will be at Strongsville against Menor. Rob will be at Rocky River, North Olmsted. Noah will be at Cleveland Heights and Medina. And Josh will be at Wadsworth and Hudson. All right, we want to thank Aidan Stewart from Avon Lake for joining us tonight. And we also want to thank Grady Gibb from Highland for taking the time out of their nights to join us on the show. Congratulations to Amir Silmi from North Olmsted, Cleveland Watts Conference, getting one in there for the Mehco Custom Printing Player of the Week. Certainly happy to see that. And overall, great work by the gentleman as well. All right, that's going to do it for our show tonight. For Rob Troutman, Noah Jacobson, Josh Sheffy, Sean Duffy, my name is Ed Dick. This has been the Sports on Tap High School Football Recap Show presented by Raymond Felton State Farm Insurance for Week 6. Stay tuned for a word from our sponsors, and we will see you on the other side.
Just remember, tomorrow morning, Power 10 will get posted on our website. Make sure you look at it.
Boom! Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
We've got the experience, the passion, and the beach to make your event a smash hit. Whether it's a romantic wedding, a lively sports venue, or a rocking high school dance, Troutland Entertainment has you covered. Contact them at 330-414-4261 or email them at troutlandent@gmail.com. That's troutlandent@gmail.com.
It's all about the deal at Brunswick Auto Mart. Save big this month with deals like this. Don't miss the Make This the Summer event and lease a new 2025 Ram 1500 Night Edition Crew Cab 4x4 with heated side mirrors, parking sensors, backup cam, Apple CarPlay, and lane departure warning for just $319 a month. Brunswick Auto Mart. Car buying made truly simple.